I'm going to start sprinkling in a couple assignments that will require to use SolidWorks instead of AutoCAD to complete. They're not going to be terribly complex because this is, after all, CAD 2D, but I don't want us to start next semester on square one with SolidWorks. I want you to have a decent understanding of it going in so we can kind of get going faster instead of retreading some of the concepts we've done, we'll be doing this year or this semester. So I guess at the end of chapter 7, there's a couple pages where they have several squares with small, simple parts. So I picked out 3 of them that I'm going to have you do. I'm going to do 3 examples here to hopefully help you complete them. So our first step is to open SolidWorks, which you can find in your Start menu. I believe most of you probably have a shortcut for it on your desktop, but if you don't, it's in your Start menu under SolidWorks 2019. There should also be a 2018, but let's use 2019. Go ahead and click on it. It'll take a while to load. There might be some other things that pop up. Just click continue unless it says this computer will blow up if you click this button, and maybe come and talk to me. Before we get started on anything, I want you to go into the settings up here in this gear icon. Go to drawings, display style, and I already have mine clicked, but for display style, have hidden lines visible and tangent edges removed. There might be some other settings I might have you do later on as I find them, but I'll walk you through that as needed. So I'm gonna go. So with that gone, I'm gonna click on the paper here. If I hover for a second, I can also do Control N. I'm gonna select mine looks like this. I'm in the advanced view. If yours might look like this. So click on part, hit OK. So I've already done a video on this, but if you're still unfamiliar or never got a chance to play with SolidWorks, I'm going to do a quick run through of the interface. This is your drawing area, much like AutoCAD, but it's all 3D. This is your, what I'm going to call parts tree, features tree. This is the ribbon, kind of like what was in AutoCAD, but slightly different. And then you have a menu bar up here. If we go up to options again, I want to double check your document properties and make sure your drafting standards set to ANSI and units are set to inches. One other thing up here to quick show off, I'll get to that later. So we're just going to work with features and sketch for right now. If you go to page 775, I'm going to do the drawing in the first row on the first column, which is pretty simple. It has a front and top view. So to start, the view that has the most information for me is actually the top view. So this over here in our feature tree, we have a front plane, top plane, and right plane. Very similar to how you do your orthographic views, except they're all based off of, if I select all 3 of them. In SolidWorks, to select multiple things, you have to hold down Shift, the opposite of AutoCAD. And so that's how these guys look. So if I want to do a sketch for my top view, I want to use my top plane. From there I can come up to the sketch tab and click on the sketch button here, or as you saw here when I clicked on this little bar here shows up. That's the sketch button, or another way is to right click on it and that also will bring up sketch. So I'm going to click sketch. This coordinate system here is the origin, So that's 0, 0. That always shows up. I'm going to start with rectangle. So up here in the sketch tab, I have rectangle. There are a few line or keyboard commands in SolidWorks, but not as many as AutoCAD. There's another way to increase your speed. I'll show you in after this part. So I'm going to click rectangle. It gives you a couple different rectangle types over here. It's currently set on my screen for center rectangle, which would start in the center of the rectangle and go out. I want to do corner to corner, corner rectangle. I'm going to click on the origin. I'm just going to drag it out to any size. And it's kind of like a weird T shape, so I'm going to do rectangle again. I'm going to drag it up to here and here. And now I want to trim out these areas. So I'm going to come up to sketch again, trim entities. It's currently set to power trim, which I'll quickly show you here. I'm going to hold down the left mouse button and I'm going to just start dragging. You can kind of see it, that faint gray. I scribble here. That's anything this touches is trimming out. And now I'm done with that. I just hit the check mark there. Okay, any lines that are blue are underdefined. So as I drag on them, they'll move. But as you see when I click on them, they do show me what it has for constraints already applied to it. SolidWorks calls them relations. You'll hear me call them constraints all the time. So I want, and also down here is another indication of whether or not your sketch is underdefined, just down here. Okay, I want this point and this point to be horizontal with each other. So if I hold down Shift, select the origin point, and select this point, this will pop up. If this goes away before you notice it, it also will be over here. So I'm going to click on horizontal. Come back over here. I just did a left click to unselect everything. I'm going to click here, hold down Shift, and select the origin. I want these to be vertical with each other. So that popped up. I'm going to do vertical. And now these lines are constrained vertically and horizontally with the origin. Now from here, all I should have to do is, in terms of constraints, is actually dimension it. So come up here, Smart Dimension, go to the origin up to here, place it. None of these drawings have dimensions, so just pick whatever. I'll do 1.75 here to here. Make that a half. I'll do 2 3/8. That's good. 4. 1.4375, 1 7/16, and I'll make that one 1. That should do it. So when the sketch is done, every line should be black, and down here it should say fully defined. So I'm going to click this button up here in the corner, and now to create this, make this a solid, I'm going to come back to features. I'm going to click on Extruded Boss / Base. I'm going to just click somewhere on this sketch. And now I have, we'll get to the from here, let's just, for now, should always just be sketch plane. And then you have your direction, which you have a button here to reverse it, to go up or down. I'm going to leave it going up. And then a distance, which I will set to 1/2 inch. That should do it. And with that, this part is basically done, so I can either hit this green check mark, right click, OK, or over here, check mark. So the part's done for what I need it to be. Now I gotta save it, so I'm gonna hit save. I was in a template here, but let's see here. I'm just going to go to my documents. I'll just save this here. My caps keeps going on. And the reason I gotta save it now is because now we're gonna make the drawing for it. So I'm gonna either come up here, click New again, or Control N, and select the drawing button. There might be a couple different options that pop up when you select this. Let me know if you can't find it, but it should be A-landscape is the template you want to use. If you can't find that, ask me and we'll figure it out. I'm gonna click OK. Mine goes straight into this. I got this set up to do that. So this is our layout. I'm gonna double click on this, and I got some. Let's see here. I got some options here for my standard views. Right now it's set to the front view. You can kind of see it indented here. I want my top view. I'm going to click somewhere on the screen, and now I can drag in a direction to place another view. So I want my front view, and for fun, if you kind of go off here, I can also put in I just right click there. If you saw the mouse, it had the right mouse button had a green check mark on it, and I checked it. If you lose that, there should be a green check mark over here in this box when you're doing that. So yeah, so if I select this view, there should be a green check mark like that. Okay, now I can just easily drag and place my views wherever I want them. Place that guy there. Maybe I want him to be actually shaded like that, or I got a couple options on how it should look. So for my scale, this is kind of small. Down here we have, similar to AutoCAD, our options for scales. If you want some custom scale, just click on Sheet Properties. This will come up and you can just type in whatever scale you want here. I'm just going to try 1:1. That should work. You don't have to put one of these in here. I just showing you that you can use it. I'm actually going to delete mine because I don't want it in the way. So I'm going to place these here, and then we have view layout and annotation. We're probably only going to use annotation for these, and only really, well, a couple of these other ones we're going to use, but I'm going to use Smart Dimension for now. And this is where things get much nicer than AutoCAD. So I need my overall. You see this little puck here? I can pick which side of the part I want it on. I'll put it over here. I want to know the distance from here to here. The puck shows up again and automatically moved this dimension away. We'll do from here to here. Goes down there. Here to here. If the puck goes away, it will kind of snap to where it needs to go. As you can kind of see it will snap there. Place it, and the overall, and down there. Now I can just, without having to worry about breaking dimensions, regenerating them, I can just move things around and everything moves with it. Smart Dimension, and then the thickness of the part. I got one more dimension I need. I'll put this one over here for clarity, and that's looking good. We'll try, when you're done with them, I gotta tinker around this a little more, but this should be fine. I'm gonna save, and then I'm gonna go File, Save As, come down here to Save As type, and just save it as also save it as a PDF. And then you can check View PDF after saving to see if it, well, let's see what we got some options here. I'm gonna play around with these settings and post another video. It wasn't quite printing the way I wanted it to, but we'll see how this goes. I'm gonna hit OK, save. Yeah, see, this is kind of gray. I know where some of those options are, but the line weight was doing some funny stuff I gotta play around with. But that should be sufficient for now. So now I'm gonna move on to a little more complex part on page 779, problem 7-11. I'm going to once again Control N or click up here for new. I'm going to do Control N. New part. Okay. So that the one I'm going to do is in row 3, column 1, down at the bottom left hand. I'm going to need at least 2 sketches to complete this. They show 3 views, but to actually get it done, I'm going to need the front and the top view. So I'm going to get my sketches done first. So I'm going to go front, right click, sketch. And before I start this, I'm going to show you the fast way of a faster option to do this. You can if you're comfortable with just using the buttons up here, do that. But there's also a thing called mouse gestures, which up here next to the gear icon here, your options, click this drop down, go to customize, come over to the mouse gestures tab, and it by default it has, I believe, just 4 gestures per how we want to call it, instance that you're in. So when you're in a sketch like I am right now, these would be the commands I could use. If I'm just in the part, assembly, or drawing, these would be the ones. You can bump it up to as high as 12. I like 12. So now I got a lot more options. We can actually customize them. I'm going to leave them the way they are for right now. But if you're finding that there's a command you use a lot that's not in here, you can actually come in here and apply it, add it to the wheel if you want it. And click OK. So how that works is I'm going to hold down on the right mouse button, and I'm just going to move it slightly, and you'll see it pop up. So there it is. Now, once I hit one of these buttons, it's going to turn that command on. So you kind of have to have a gentle touch with this. You'll start kind of getting a feel for it, and you can get real fast with it. So I want on the front plane, let's see here, at least a rectangle. So I'm going to go down here to the rectangle. That started it up. I'm going to drag one out. And now I need 2 circles. What I just did there is similar to what we do in AutoCAD with the tracking. I'm tracking from there, and there we go. I need one in the center. Now I need 2 lines. I don't like that. That was fine. I just want I don't want to repeat line segments. I just double clicked to end the line, but stayed in the line command. Now I come over here and place that one there. Double clicked again. That's done. Now I can right click to select, just get out of the command completely. I'm going to hold down the right mouse button. I want my trim command, which, like I said, all these are up there. And I'm going to trim this out. Okay, that's looking good. So once again, if it's blue, that means it's under defined. So it tend to want to quickly apply tangent to any of your arcs and lines. So if I select this line and then hold down shift and select this arc, this will pop up. Otherwise, once again, it's off to the left. And I want tangent. I want to do it to this one here, so I'm holding down shift again, selecting the arc, tangent. Now if I drag on it, see how this kind of works. Okay, that's moving like I want it to. Okay, last step here is just to dimension it. I'm holding down right, went up to the dimension tool, clicking here, 0.5. Let's get the overall length there. We'll just do 6. Similar to AutoCAD, this line kind of broke away from where I wanted it. Although unlike AutoCAD, all I have to do is drag it back over there, and if you see on that little yellow symbol as I get close to that line, it's adding coincidence for me automatically. Now that's attached there. Oh, I just held down the middle mouse button. That rotated, which you'll probably do because that's pan in AutoCAD. If you hold down, let's think here. Hold down Shift, that's a zoom in, zoom out like that. If you hold down Control and hold the mouse button, that's pan. If you want to get your view back to looking straight at what you're sketching, you can come up here, click here. This big cube thing pops up, but you can come down to here. There's all the different views you want. So I can do front there, or as you can see, Control 1. So I'm going to do Control 1. Alright, I'm going to do the right mouse button up to dimension, here to the center. I'll make that 2 3/8. I'll set a radius, 1, and the size of the hole, I will make 11/16, which you can actually type that in, and you can see that was 0.6875, or rounding up 0.69. Okay, that view is done. Now I want to sketch out my top view. So I'm going to go top, right click, sketch. Using my mouse gestures, I'm going to make a rectangle from origin over to here. It's snapping to that, but it's not actually constraining to it. As you can see, now I can still drag on it. So if I select this point, hold down Shift, and select this point, I can add coincidence to it. Now all I need is to dimension it. I will make this, let's make it 2 and 2. Should work. This next step you don't have to do, but I'm going to do it just so I can show you. I'm going to basically sketch out the depth of this feature here. I don't need to do anything like hidden lines or anything like that on these sketches. It's just how we're going to extrude this part, which I'll get to in a second. So I'm just going to sketch in some lines here. So if I go Control 1, top, or Control 2, alright, I don't know what that one is. Its top is Control 5, okay. I want this point with that, so I'm gonna, if you weren't already rotated, I'm gonna rotate mine so I can constrain this point and this point. So it's basically gonna project this point down to this plane. So I'm gonna click here, here, coincident, and then right mouse gesture. I will dimension the size of this. We'll make that 5/8. I'll show you something. So there's 2 holes on this, which I can just put in the sketch, 2 holes. But I'm gonna use the hole feature here, and I'll show you why when we get to the drawing. But before I get to that, I'm gonna just, since I'm here, I'm gonna put a hole right there. When I select it here, I want to make this construction, which is this button right here. If I can, construction geometry. If you lose that, you can click on it, and there's an option here, check for construction. Let's see here. I want this to be centered from this edge to this edge. So there's also symmetry in this program as well. Our construction line is always started with a line, and then under the options we have for construction and infinite length if you want it. So I'm going to go to this point and place my construction line, and then I can select this edge, holding down shift, this edge, and then the center line. That will pop up the option for make symmetric. And there we go. Now I just have to quick dimension that. The reason I'm putting this in here is I'm going to use this to reference to where I put the holes with the hole tool. From the center to the edge, 1, and make it a size of, let's do 5/8 again. Exit there. Okay, now I'm going to do some extrudes. So I'm going to click extrude base, select, let's get the bottom base here first. And I can type in however tall I made this, or I can change it from blind here to up to vertex, and then select any of these vertices. And now that's that height. I think that's all I need for that one. Hit the check mark. I'm going to actually come back, so it made this boss extrude here. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to drop down on this, come to the sketch and right click and show with the eyeball. And you'll see why in a second. Alright, I'm going to pre-select sketch 1, come up to extruded base or boss, click it, and now to get anything extruded, I'm going to come down here to where it says selected contours, and it was already doing it, but I'm going to, just so you know that's where this is at, I'm going to click on any of these contours, basically enclosed geometry. So click there, that's all I need, and once again I'm going to do up to vertices and click there. And that should do it. Click OK. The reason I'm doing that, and you don't have to do it, is I like keeping all my dimensions in one place. So that's kind of coming from the program I used at my last job. SolidWorks is actually a little better than that, but I still like having everything kind of condensed in one spot for when I need to make edits. So now when I need to change this, I can change the overall width of this part and that all in one edit versus having to go to this one, that one, and make all the edits in a bunch of different spots. There is an option to actually just turn on all the dimensions, but that, depending on how complex the part is, it can get really messy looking. Alright, so I'm going to make a hole now, right here. I'm going to click the hole wizard up in the features tab. There's a lot of options here, but we're going to, for this one, we just need the hole. So this one right here, and then on the type, I'm going to have it set to fractional drill sizes, and then I'm going to find 5/8. I have, if you're not seeing that, I have the show decimal values checked. With that selected, I'm going to come up to the tab where it says positions, click on that. I'm going to click on the surface, either this one, or I'm holding down middle mouse button to rotate the part. This surface or this surface. I'm going to actually go from the bottom up, and now should let me snap. That's why I put that sketch in there. Now I can just snap right to that, and it's good to go. I'm going to come back to type and double check. I want in condition to actually just be set to through wall, like that. So that's good. Now I need to, there was 2 of them, so I'm going to use linear pattern to make 2 of them. Once again, this seems like a lot of steps for such a simple thing, but you'll see why I'm doing it in a second. Linear pattern. Now we got set the direction. If I come over here and do the drop down right there, I can get access to my planes again. So if I select the front plane, pattern is going to go this direction. If I do the top, this direction, and right will go this direction. So I'm going to click right. And that will take practice, you'll just start knowing that. So as you can see, the arrow is coming off of this plane. Or if I selected front, the arrow is coming off of that plane. So I'm going to go back to right. I want to flip the direction because you can see the yellow line, the yellow circle right there is going the wrong way from what I want. So click there, that's going the right way. I have a distance here. I will set that to just say 1. And then I also have an option to change how many of them I want. If I wanted 4, 3, whatever. I'm going to set it back to 2. I got a direction 2 option in case I want to obviously go another direction. But that's all I need it for, so I'm going to hit check mark. Part's good. I'm going to come back to this one here and hide this sketch so it doesn't show up when I'm doing my drawing. Now I'm going to save. I can either come up here and click this button or Control S. I will do example 2. Hit save. Control N and select drawing. And OK. I've got example 2 over here and example 1. I'll just double click on example 2. I'm on the front view. I'll place that here. Project that up. And I could put I'll just put the right view in there. I'm not going to dimension to it, but we can have it there. And then I'm going to, I can right, nope, I can't. I want to just do the check mark here. Okay. So, to get right to why I did the holes like I did them, I can come up to the Annotation tab and click on Hole Callout. And now you'll see why that's pretty useful. Click on the hole, and it automatically applies how many we've made and gave it its diameter. That would have happened anyways. But the big one was the how many of the holes we had, and also through wall, which we probably could exclude if we wanted to, but it's fine. Check that. And then I'll quick dimension this guy. Come up to start dimension, or like I was doing in my sketches, I can hold down the right mouse button and I got all these options for my drawing. So I want dimension. From here up to my center mark. Place that there, the thickness of that, the radius of this, diameter of that, thickness of that, placement of these to the center mark, and I think this will look nicer putting this off to the side. I believe that is all I need. Oh, nope, I need to know, I either could do from here to the center mark or just the distance between them. And let's do baseline. Once again, if you lose that little puck, it will snap to spots that you need. Let's see here, let's drag this down a little bit and drag this up. There's really no reason to have sloppy drawings in SolidWorks. It is so easy to dimension in. That should do it. I'll save and then save again, or let's do save as PDF. There's some options in here. We already did that. Never mind. Anyways. Save. That's good. Okay, I'm going to do one last one, and that's going to be on page 7-81. Control N. part. Okay. I'm going to do this one a little faster up until I get to the holes again. I need... actually, no, that's not the one I was going to do. I'm going to do page 7-83. Once again, the one in the bottom left-hand corner. I'm going to go top, plane, right-click, sketch. They have a tool for slot shapes right here, or I don't. Yep, it's also on my wheel right there. I want center point straight slot at the origin, out this way, and stretching it out this way. If I click up to Smart Dimension, click there. We'll make that 3.75 with a radius of 1.5. And that one's already done. I'm going to extrude it. I'm going to extrude it down this time. We'll make that 1.5. Yeah. I'm going to unhide my sketch again here so I can use it for reference. Come up to Hole Wizard. There are two different counter bores. This one is when we know like what kind of fastener we'll be actually using, and then there's the legacy one where we have a little more control on the size. So we're going to use this one for now. I'm going to come up to positions, select this surface, place one here and here. These will be the counter bores on the feature here, or the part here. The type, we're going to select counter board. We got a drill diameter here, which I'll set to, say, double click on that, 0.5. The depth will be determined by this, which it's set to through all. Counter board diameter, I'll set to 1, and depth to 1/4. And that should be good. Hit the check mark. And then now we'll do just the blind hole. So Hole Wizard, come to hole again. We'll set this back to fractional drill sizes. Do a 1/4 inch one. We'll set the in condition to blind at 0.3/4. Come up to positions, select the surface, and click there. Let's actually make that a little bigger. So, what I just did there to go back into it, in case you do something you didn't want to, I selected it, I right-clicked, and then I clicked on this button here which says Edit Feature. And then I'm going to make that a 1/2. Yeah. I'm going to Control S to save. Oh wait, I'm going to hide this sketch again. Control S. Example 3. Control N. Drawing. Double click on example 3. Place my view. Project the next one. It automatically put, and then I just gave me the option to do the right click to close it out. So we're going to go back to hole callout again. I'm going to click on our counter bore here, and it automatically adds the note that we need for that counter bore, which is pretty great. And also the same thing for this one. When I click on this one, we got our diameter and the depth of the hole we just drilled, or we're going to have drilled. Hit the check mark, go up to dimension, from center mark to center mark, down to there, center mark, down, radius, we'll go, let's do it from this one. and then our thickness. Bam, bam, bam. That should do it. Drag it down. Control S to save it. And I believe it's, let's see here. If you want to do a save, oh, there isn't a shortcut for save as. So save as, I think it might be Control Shift S. Nope. Okay. So File, Save As. Drop down to PDF and save. So I know it can be a little frustrating in terms of swapping back and forth between programs, but it is something that you would potentially have to do. I know at my last job we had two different programs. We had a 2D and a 3-dimensional that you'd have to swap back and forth, and the way they worked was a little different, so you had to kind of switch head spaces. So this should be kind of a nice practice on that. And also I know that once you do get used to this program, you are really probably not going to want to go back to AutoCAD, but it is still a program used in industry, so it's still worthwhile to learn it.